Welcome back, everybody. You got Will and I-Man here from the Block Runner, and we are back after a couple of days off.
Days?
Yeah, it's like 10 days off, dude.
Dude, it's been a while, man.
It feels
We've been
much
MIA,
longer.
dude. Huh?
It feels much longer than like the 10 days or so, but
yeah, we apologize, everybody. It's been a rough couple of weeks, I guess. Not rough, it's just so much going on.
Yeah.
We just haven't been able to keep up with the normal routine, but we're back at it for sure. We've had some like discussions like which direction we want to take this channel now, just because like the crypto space is changing. It always does it, right? It evolves rapidly.
Yes.
Like most of the time when you're not paying attention. Which is kind of what's been happening. Is like we're so focused on our stuff.
Yeah.
We don't realize what's going on out there. But now we're kind of like putting our finger back on that pulse. So we got to redirect this channel, right?
Yeah, we missed a lot of things too. Like in these like 10 or so days off, John McAfee committed suicide allegedly, and we haven't talked about that. We haven't even gotten together for a podcast to discuss.
That's unbelievable. Yeah. I can't believe we haven't talked about that.
Yeah, we haven't talked about it. And so allegedly he committed suicide. I don't think that's what happened. I guess same situation that happened to Epstein, but I'm not sure like what the cause of that is, but I mean, we're getting like completely off topic here. But what we wanted to talk about today is what's really been like hitting the crypto zeitgeist. And right now it's been blockchain gaming, and most importantly, Axie's been completely dominating. There's nobody close to Axie. And the reason is because it's the same stuff that Iman and I have been talking about for at least a year. It is that economic component that blockchain enables for gaming. Right? Iman said it best. The gamers out there know exactly how important and how intuitive it is to have an economic system within a game, and they could quickly pick up what blockchain gaming can do to a particular game. So the team at Axie, they know what they're doing. Obviously, they have the biggest blockchain game right now and the most sustainable one. So much so that there's like second tier, second level economies being manifested by the community itself. Right?
Yep.
We got like, for example, the scholarship program that we're going to be talking about in a second. But yeah, this illustrates the point of how important blockchain and gaming come in terms of how intuitive it is to understand the implications of like cryptocurrencies and blockchain. So yeah, we want to talk about Axie today. I don't know if you guys have been keeping a pulse as to exactly what's been going on, but Axie is exploding, and we want to explain why and how.
Yeah, and I guess also lay out that groundwork expectation again, like I was saying before, the direction of our channel, because usually when events like this happen, you could kind of correlate this to like a Unaswap moment, right? Where when Uniswap first hit the scene, it changed everything for crypto and blockchain. All of a sudden, DeFi boomed and emerged. There was a DeFi summer after Uniswap became like, widely understood and adopted.
Incubation platforms spawned because of Uniswap.
Everything we've seen up until this point, essentially. Well, mostly everything.
Yeah,
it's the Uniswap moment is the fuel for like a lot of the like positive market sentiment we've seen the last year.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
That's my assessment. So I think Axie just did it again for like a whole new sector. I think now there's like a proven model out there that works. It's the play to earn model, right? There's tons of game developers out there that probably weren't even aware that this existed. But now Axie's pinging everybody's radar. Mm-hmm. They're pinging probably Fortnite's radar, Blizzard, all these big corporations out there that have multi-billion-dollar game studios. They're paying attention. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
Right. And internally, like what happened at IBM and Microsoft and Google and Facebook, whenever like Bitcoin and Ethereum started hitting the mainstream, a lot of those talented developers left those companies to come join the blockchain arena and like, let me see if I can innovate in this space.
Not only that, yeah, agreed. Not only that, the developers inside those companies are actively investigating blockchain. That's how we're able to get a lot of the variations that we're seeing in Ethereum. They have their own versions for like companies now, and so yeah, I think Axie represents probably the most coherent use case as far as blockchain games go. But it is a little bit different comparing Axie to Uniswap, because Uniswap is more like a sort of like a platform that can be leveraged and used like within other dApps. Axie is just like the best use case of blockchain gaming.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's gonna facilitate the same economic model into other games, and that's largely what we're trying to do with MetaZone. Like, not necessarily to plug MetaZone, but essentially we want to facilitate that same economic model into everything that gets created in the metaverse. And that's why this is so important right now, because metaverse is going to be one of the biggest sectors in blockchain coming up, right? And now is the time to really start paying attention to what's going on, and Axie is like the best representation of that.
Yeah. Okay, so what happened in Axie land?
So a couple of things. So one of the most important things that has developed because of Axie's traction, I would say, is the scholarship program. So it looks like the scholarship program was developed by the community, and the community is setting up this system where those whales who have hundreds to thousands of Axies, they're like, well, I can't play with all of them, so let's come up with a system where I loan these out, or I let others use it and share the revenue, which is in Axie's case, the SOPs, which SOPs are required to breed Axies, right? So the system is I loan out 3 Axies to different individuals who can play, and they play, and we share the SOP revenue that comes in. And so from a technical standpoint, basically the owner of these thousands of Axies basically create a new account. They put in 3 Axies. They give the username and the password to a player out there in the world. That player starts playing with those 3 Axies and hopefully winning. And that revenue is shared between the owners of the Axie and the player of the Axie game, right? So here's a list of different Axie scholarship programs in this particular article from this community. And this just showcases how the success of a game spawns like these new ideas. And it's just something to illustrate that we think it's not
this. Yeah, I guess it's partly the success of the game, but it's also the community aspect, in the sense that now
sure.
Guy Mavis isn't really in charge, right? Like, if this was Blizzard, if this was happening in Blizzard's arena, because Blizzard has domain over all the assets within that game universe, right?
Right.
Now that the community owns all the assets within this game, they have the freedom to do stuff like this, right? Like, before it was, this is bannable offense in traditional gaming.
Yeah.
Game companies don't want to see their users like profiting off of their IP.
Yeah.
Fuck no, dude.
Traditional gaming, this would be like the black market stuff that used to happen with like World of Warcraft.
Yeah. This stuff does happen in games. Yeah, there are black markets for this stuff.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, like that's the reality of gaming. Because there's such demand for these assets and these game resources, right? But yeah, the companies, they don't want this to happen. So like, to me, this is interesting. Like, this is end game type shit, right? Like, this is what Vitalik envisioned whenever he like supposedly first started Ethereum. Like, he wanted to destroy companies like Blizzard, right? Like, take away all that control, give it back to the players. So, but that's not to say like this is like purely like good. Like, this could potentially snowball to like some darkness. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a second, but I wanted to highlight for every single program in this, from this community's perspective, the vetted programs that they have here in this list, is the idea that the split is going to be 65% to 35% of the program itself. The trainers get 65%. And it's modeled across all the different programs here. You'll see 65, 35% pretty much across the board. And what's interesting here is that the individual trainers need to earn 500 SOP minimum per week, or they basically get kicked out.
Das Boot. Yeah, for sure.
And
what does this look like to you? This looks like a freaking Indeed job post board to me.
That's right.
These people are just looking for labor, essentially, right? Yeah. And in exchange for that labor, you're going to get some income, some revenue, some livelihood. Yeah. Which, this is it.
And this is it. So in the Philippines, there's a lot of players playing Axie, and these are just some examples of pictures, selfies of all these people in the Philippines playing Axie, and their revenue for something like this is roughly $300 to $400 a month. So if you live in like the States or anything, $300 $400 a month isn't the most amount of money. But if you're living in a country where on average you're earning $2 per day, you are making, roughly 3 to 4 times more playing a video game than getting a job somewhere within your country. So
yeah, basically you're killing it by
Yeah.
playing Axie in your country. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you're doing well, right? So because of that, you could imagine word of mouth spreading from there, right? Like how viral this can get in those kind of in that economic scenario, right? Where there's not much opportunity, like within the country you live in, right?
Yeah, and if you do some napkin math, if you have 1,000 Axies, you could basically get 300 people, each with 3 Axies, playing this game. And so if this $400 represents 60% of the entire revenue, then you're basically making roughly $200 per person a month.
Yeah. Yeah, I know somebody, like I have a friend who's in Japan, and this guy knows people who are they're playing in this economy. You know, they have tons of Axies, and he's making $1,000 a day doing this.
Yeah,
like
so
that's some serious money. Yeah.
So from the program manager who has 3,000 or 1,000 Axies, you could be potentially making 60 grand per month just by loaning out your Axies. Like,
yep.
This is a significant like business model that just manifested just because the game had the proper economic incentives to get people involved and start playing.
Mm-hmm. And I guess like the demand had to be there in order for like the base entry level to get to a point where it wasn't feasible anymore for people to, like, you know, from the Philippines or whatever country to participate, right? So more than likely, the people with the money, you know, the crypto wealthy people, they started accumulating these Axies and they're taking them off the market. But people still want to play and earn, right? But there's not enough Axies to go around, so the base valuation goes up over time.
That's right.
And I guess I don't know what you identify these people as, the entrepreneurs within the community. I guess they figured out a way how to like really leverage these assets and generate, you know, that passive income. Like it's wild, you know.
Absolutely.
I'm pretty sure like Sky Mavis, you know, founding Axie team, I bet you they never thought this would happen like early on. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely not. Yeah, they were just creating a game, and they plugged in blockchain cryptocurrencies into it and incentivized the right components of the game itself, and all of a sudden you have people breeding and they're making like $200 million a month in volume.
Yeah,
and so that starts competing with traditional gaming at that point.
Mm-hmm. So by the way, I don't even think we've shown a picture. Like, what do these little things look like in case people don't know? Like, what is an Axie?
Right? Yeah, you're right.
Well, yeah, we tried to go to their website, but it's down.
It's
at
down.
the moment.
Yeah.
Like Axies, it's so wild. I think they're actually under like a DDoS attack right now.
Yeah.
As we're speaking. Let's see.
Yeah, since 8 hours ago, the marketplace is currently having issues due to a DDoS attack. This means somebody spamming the server to try and make it unusable. So the ETA for a fix is 30 minutes, and that was 8 hours ago. And we're trying now, and it's back. Finally.
Oh,
look at
nice.
that.
Okay, well, here they are, dude. These are the Axies.
Yep.
So this is it. Yeah, after everything we just said, this is the visualization of like what it is people are like, you know, fighting tooth and nail to utilize, right? These little poof ball creatures. I don't even know how you know. They're pretty cool. They're unique, you know. There's we can make a ton of videos going into like
the economic aspects.
And like there's like a genetic component to them, right? Like you're supposed to breed these things together to create new ones, and it's pretty in depth, and it takes a lot of explanation. But the purpose of this video is just to like get everyone to be paying attention again, you know, because like I said, this is just version 1 of what like play to earn economics is going to look like down the line. You know, like this is just the first breakthrough moment within this sector. And like I said, I'm predicting a lot of copycats to come pretty soon, you know?
Yeah. And so we talked about this scholarship program, and there's a lot of discussion now with how the implications of such a scholarship program could lead to like some negative aspects forming as well. And so there was like an individual named Jimmy. He was saying that there's increasing reports of sexual exploitation in the Axie sponsorship program. Like if there's an incentive mechanism to kind of force these individuals to start doing other activities that otherwise wouldn't happen because there isn't a need. Because right now, I mean, if you're making $400 a month and that's paying your bills, I mean, there's people out there that need this money. And so there's potential to abuse that need. And so there's indications of, you know, something like that happening. But yeah, so that's the crazy stuff that's happening.
And that's part of the experiment too, right? Like now the power is in the community's hand. that's all gravy until like, there's going to be bad actors in any ecosystem or community. And like, now how do you account for that and like regulate it? And make sure like these nefarious actors don't abuse the power that they end up having, over their fellow human beings, but whenever you kind of create these economic models, it definitely tends to like snowball into like sweatshop like conditions. Mm-hmm. I know this fondly from being a World of Warcraft player. I remember those days. I remember seeing them all over the place. Like these people, they made documentaries about them. At the time, I didn't realize like how bad it was. When I was farming in the game, I saw like the same accounts with like these weird names, always there all day, every day. Like, dude, these guys have no life. They're always here farming. But then they make documentaries like these are actually people like locked into the sweatshops, like basically slave laborers, right? Like you're going to work 20 hours a day grinding this in-game currency so that we could sell it to these rich, fat Americans, like myself. And it shit works. You know what I mean?
So let's talk about a little bit of the implications of blockchain and like a successful game like Axie going into that realm where there's abuse happening. Because like you're saying, like this goes all the way back to World of Warcraft, way before blockchain even existed, that there's these sweatshops. What do you think there's going to be some sort of regulatory component to a lot of this stuff? Or is it going to be like self-managed? Like what would Blizzard do in that situation? Or Blizzard didn't do anything, right?
And Blizzard, I mean, if you get caught like engaging in these black market deals, they just ban your account, right? I mean, they have the ultimate control over that. But again, these are blockchain assets. The users own these assets, right? You can't really, maybe there's a way you could blacklist them. I don't know, from the game itself. Like if you could blacklist an address, I mean, I'm sure all you have to do is migrate your assets to another one and make you account. I don't know. Axie has a lot like to think about, I'm sure, like how to handle the abuse that's for sure to come. This is just like human nature. Like people always end up exploiting people like lower down that socioeconomic ladder somehow.
Also think about this. There was a couple of reports of people dying because they were playing games too much. Remember how this one kid didn't use a restroom or didn't eat, and then there was another family who let their baby die because they were playing, what was it, World of Warcraft?
Yeah, these are probably all World of Warcraft related.
Yeah.
That fucking
like,
game, dude.
But imagine you let your child, your toddler die because you didn't feed it because you were playing a video game. Like, that's insanity. And I think that could potentially happen way more often if games and blockchain mix, because now you have a vested economic incentive, a big one, to spend a lot more time in the game itself.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure these things are going to happen. There's a double-edged sword to anything, right? Any new innovation, any new technology, any new whatever the hell, there's always a downside risk, right? But usually the upside usually outweighs it.
Sure.
It's so been there's millions of people being lifted out of poverty.
Sure.
You're going to have these outlier instances where people are going to be taken advantage of, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
And then people are going to not think responsibly and like get sucked into this freaking I don't know, this virtual existence. Because like you're saying before, it was purely like entertainment, maybe like a little bit of identity driven, right? Like I identified myself more with my virtual character than my own personality, right? Like, fuck that. I'd rather be in the virtual world.
Yeah.
But now you're saying, not only is it like identity and like entertainment, now it's also financial, right? Like you pretty much everything you need, except like maybe like sexual. That's the only thing missing. I'm sure somebody's working on that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all you really need to be like, to fulfill your needs. You know what I mean? So,
right.
You're right, dude. Some people are going to get sucked into that vortex, that black hole, and like they'll never come out.
Yeah. I think there's going to be a lot more cases like that, just because that financial incentive really drives like our motivations, right? A lot of people they're motivated by that monetary aspect, and if you pit that with blockchain gaming or gaming itself, then I mean it could be a recipe for like a lot more of those instances happening. But like you're saying, with every upside, there's going to be a downside. It comes with like innovation. There's a lot more deaths because of cars than there was before cars were invented, right? So it happens. But it's just something to kind of think about. But yeah, other than that, that has been Axie Infinity. If you guys have any questions, if you want us to go deeper into Axie, like go down to the game mechanics, the economic mechanics, like, let us know what you think, and follow us on our social media accounts. They're going to be all in the description. And thank you guys for watching.
Peace out.